Hare Krishna, hey everyone. Welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita Study Circle. We are in 174th session. So we are in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, and a very special chapter because Krishna is personalizing a lot of things in this particular chapter. So we will see that how much Krishna actually loves each one of us. But before that, he is actually also talking about some technical stuff that which we are discussing right now. And actually, this chapter began with the question of Arjuna, right? So, question of Arjuna was, what is the difference between a tyagi and a sannyasi? This was the question. We have discussed few verses already in this particular section. But before we begin and go forward, let us chant the pranam mantras like we do always, and then begin the session. Okay. So thank you so much, each one of you, for joining today. Let us join our palms and chant the pranam mantras. Let us dedicate this session to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, and my beloved spiritual master. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi पाश्चात देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome all of you for today's Bhagavad Gita session. Now, the previous session we had discussed until verse number 10. We also have Lakshmi Mataji joining us on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. We also have Divik joining us here on StreamYard. And we also have Vinodji joining us on StreamYard. Thank you so much for joining. So in the previous verse, we had discussed Nadvesti akushalam karma kushale nanusajjate tyagi sattva samavishto medhavi chinna samchayaha. So what does that mean? It meant that the intelligent renouncer situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about the work. So we understood that how even tyaga, when we people renounce, that renunciation can also be of three types: sattva, rajas, and tamas. Tamasic tyaga is a tyaga where you hurt someone. We have discussed the examples, right? You do some tyaga, but then there is some sort of pain involved. Pain involved in the sense you are giving pain to others. That is what it is. That is tamasic tyaga. And then there is also rajasic tyaga. Rajasic tyaga, he does some action. In tamasic tyaga, the person does not even do any action. And by not performing his action, not performing his duty, it is leading to some problem. It is actually hurting someone. So that's a problem. But in Rajasic, this fellow knows what to do, but he doesn't do. That is Rajasic. Right? And Sattvic person, Sattvic Tyaga, that is what is discussed here. He is one who knows what to do and he will do it as a matter of duty. Whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, he will not move back, not step back from doing what is his duty. Right? Many times you see these tamasic people, these politicians, they in order to protect their son, who is a criminal, who has done something wrong, their duty is to actually protect the law. But that's the highest law that they can perform, highest duty that they are supposed to perform. But instead of protecting the law, they will protect their own son, which is very personal. So they will give up the higher duty to protect their son, who is a criminal, and that is what is called tamasik tyaga. So they do the tyaga of the higher duty to protect something that is lowest. So that is tamasic in nature. And rajasic, like I told you, that people, we are taking the example of people who are greedy. You know, a police officer newly appointed in a new place where there are a lot of gundas. The gundas will come and give them some dhamki. Uh, then out of that fear, out of greed, this fellow will not perform his duty. So that is also a problem. He knows, but he will not perform. Sattvic person, he is very duty bound person. So we all have to be duty bound. Now, sometimes in our life there are some things that which are very pleasant and some things which are very unpleasant. But a sattvic person will not differentiate. He will do his duty because it has come on his way now. The Lord has blessed him with certain duty. He will do it, right? And a person who is very sattvic, his mind is very enriched. He is a evolved person. Because of knowledge, he is so rich with so much of wonderful spiritual knowledge that he spreads knowledge everywhere. He's a medhavi, very knowledgeable person, and because of that, he can see things very clearly. So, when you have a torch, a small torch, very dim torch, how much can you actually see the path? Very a short distance, right? Hardly any distance will be there, maybe a few feet from where you are standing, you will be able to see. But if you have a very powerful torch, that powerful torch is like a sattvic person's mind, very, very enriched, full of knowledge. When you have a powerful torch, it can spread light through many, many feet, and you can see things very clearly, brightly, right? And to a longer distance. So, when our mind is very powerful, then what happens is these clarity of thought will be much, and we will take decisions very appropriately. But a dim fellow, without any knowledge, he will see life in a very limited way. He will see only present. He cannot be a visionary. A sattvic person is a visionary because he sees things far off, and he builds a very big, like Prabhupada. Prabhupada is beyond sattvic. He's a visionary. Why is a visionary? Because he thought of 10,000 years ahead of him, right? He thought that I am here only for a short time. Prabhupada knew it very well. But then he had a vision that could make devotees for next 10,000 years. And that is going on now. Even in spite of him passing away 50 years ago, ISKCON is growing more and more, more and more, more and more. Why? Because of that vision, because of that wonderful spiritual knowledge. There was so much of light, right? So this is how it is. So very, very powerful. Knowledge is extremely powerful. And when such a mind which is full of knowledge, okay, just excuse me for the noise that is going on behind. Yes. So coming back to our, yeah. So a sattvic person, what happens? Because his mind is so pure, he can detect subtle things. See, shukshma, when the mind becomes very, very pure, you can identify, you can see through subtle things. There are very nice subtle things that are happening in our body, actually. In our body, in our mind, in our intelligence, in our surroundings, in our environment. Lot of subtle things are happening. To perceive all these subtle things, you need a very pure mind. And a person who is sattvic, he can actually perceive all these things. Even emotions, sometimes people are so dull, they cannot even understand the emotions of other person. Why? Because they are so gross. But when a person becomes very subtle, they can understand the bhava of a person because they are subtle in nature. they can understand, right? And just by understanding the eye movement, the tone of a person, they can actually understand, oh, what is his bhava? That is subtlety. Because the pure mind can understand these very subtle aspects of human life, right? And because his mind is pure, his speech is pure. And because his speech is pure, his actions are pure. So overall, a sattvic person builds a very wonderful personality, a very blissful personality. And anybody who sees him or comes around him, they become very happy and joyful. So, and also internally, for such a person, he is very harmonious from within. Why? Because his mind, his speech, his action, everything is aligned. This is very important in our life. If we truly want to be happy, right, this alignment between thoughts, our speech, and our action, if this is aligned properly, sure shot you will be happy. You can try this out. You just do what you speak, and you just speak whatever you think. If this alignment is there, nobody can disturb us. And so many people perform so much of workshops and big, you know, uh, programs, events for this particular thing. Alignment, it is called. The mind body alignment is very, very important. And people charge a bomb for this outside. Recently, I told you, like, I had been to Goa, and so much of mind control, master your mind, and alignment of the mind. They definitely have a lot of very nice techniques, no doubt about it. But and they acknowledge also, the best thing is, some of them really acknowledge that all this knowledge is already given in our shastras. So we can just use this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita given by Krishna and align ourselves. If this alignment is there, then nobody can disturb us. And this exactly what is happening to Arjuna now. Arjuna, after listening to Krishna, what is happening? He's aligning his thought, he's aligning his speech, he's aligning his actions to what Krishna has told. And this is perfection of our life. To align this itself is the greatest task that we should take up. Whatever I think, I will speak that only, Prabhu. Whatever I speak, I will do that only, Prabhu. If this, it's very tough task actually. Not so easy, right? So today, what we are going to discuss in this particular few verses is, it's very practical. If you really think and absorb in what we are discussing today, you will see it can really help you in your life. How? Because see, now in the previous verses, I think fourth or fifth verse of this particular chapter, Krishna said that, okay, Arjuna, listen to me. Who is better, Tyagi or Sannyasi? And before that, he explained that the opinions of different sages when it comes to karma. So some of the sages, they say that Manishinas, what did the Manishinas say? That karma, when you perform, karma means action. When you perform, it has a certain defect. Any action in this material world has a certain defect. What is that defect? That defect is karma phala. Either papa or punya, that will actually make you take another birth. Because to enjoy the punya, you have to again come. To enjoy or suffer the papa, you have to again come. So karma has karma phala, and karma phala in turn is actually giving you rebirth. So that's the defect. Because the problem is taking birth, right? And when you take birth, again the same cycle continues. So many defects and so many problems will come. See the situation now, okay? Now, a question may come in Arjuna's mind: what if I do karma, right, and escape the karma phala? Is there any such situation like this? That I don't do karma only. See, now what happens is, if I do karma, then there is a defect of karma phala. Now, Arjuna may say, oh Krishna, I don't want to do karma only. Because if I don't do karma, then there is no karma phala. And no karma phala means no rebirth. So that's the best thing, right? Many people may think like that. So, to understand this, let us understand the verse today. Dev, you can unmute yourself and let us chant today's verse. 11th verse for today. न हि देहभृता शक्यम्
न हि देहभृता शक्यम्
त्यक्तुं कर्माणि अशेषतः
त्यक्तुं त्यक्तुं कर्माणि अशेषतः
यस्तु कर्मफलत्यागी
यस्तु कर्मफलत्यागी
सत्यागित् अभिधीयते.
सत्यागित् अभिधीयते.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you. So if anybody is thinking, Prabhuji, let me not do karma, no karma phala, no rebirth. So immediately Krishna is saying here, oh Arjuna, please understand, it is indeed impossible for any embodied being to give up all activities. So, what Krishna or Prabhupada also in the translation is actually suggesting here is that it is just impossible, not possible at all, to give up action. There cannot be a person who is actionless. You cannot remain actionless in this body. As long as you have this body, you have to perform action. So please understand there is no shortcut to happiness. You cannot become lazy. You have to do work, and that work is because you are embodied. So you have to perform action. There is no question that I have to become actionless. Body means we have to perform action. Why? Because at least for our survival, we have to perform action. Eating. huh? For eating, we have to work. At least cook a little bit. Go somewhere out or buy something. The worst thing is today, Civic Zomato, you have to at least use your mobile phone and do some action. You have to perform action. Right? So performing action is just a glass of water. If you want to drink, you have to perform action of walking from your bedroom to the kitchen and take the glass of water and drink it. So action you cannot avoid. You need to perform action. We cannot become free from action as long as we are there in this material body because the body has needs. It has urges. And as long as it has urges, you have to perform action. Karma cannot be avoided. Action cannot be avoided. And because you cannot avoid karma, now karma phala cannot be avoided. Right? And hence now birth and cycle cannot be avoided. What is this? Prabhuji, I cannot avoid karma, but I want to become free from birth and that cycle. How are these going to be now? How does this work? Because you are saying I cannot perform I have to do action, and action means karma phala and birth and death. I don't want birth and death, and you're telling that I have to perform action also. How does this work now? Now, this is what Krishna is going to give some solution now. See, one who works for Krishna and does not enjoy any phala of the karma, who offers everything to Krishna, is actually a renouncer. Prabhupada is saying. There is karma and there is karma phala. But idea is not to give up the karma. Here the idea is to give up the karma phala. This is where the science of tyaga comes. When you give up the karma phala, then there is no birth and death. Birth and death, the cycle of birth and death is not because of karma. Please understand. It is because of karma phala. Now, instead of giving up action, if I only give up the karma phala and I give it and offer it to Krishna, then there is no birth and death. This is very interesting. Correct? So let us understand more about this. Hina Mataji, unmute yourself. Let us chant the next verse. Very important verse, this also is. Okay? A little bit more detail. Okay? Let me see if she's on. Okay, let me add her. Okay. So this verse is Anishtam, Ishtam, Mishram cha.
अनिष्टम् इष्टं मिश्रं च
त्रिविधं कर्मणः फलम्
त्रिविध कर्मणा फलम्
भवत् अत्यागिनां प्रीत्या
भवतत्यागिनां प्रीत्या
तो सन्यासिनां क्वचित्.
न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
For one who is not renounced the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, see, the question here is not about being actionless, but one who has renounced the phala, he is actually very peaceful. There is no question of suffering or enjoyment. So, the phala can be desirable, it can be undesirable, ishtam, anishtam, mishram, or a mixed phala. Right? Let us understand this. Whenever we perform any karma, so punya karma means ishtaphala will come. That means you will get all the desired result. Whenever you perform any punya karma, giving charity, helping others, annadana seva, going to the temple and doing some seva, any punya karma that you do, you will get a very wonderful result, a very positive result, ishtaphala, that will make you progress in your evolution of spiritual life. Right? That is called punya karma, ishtaphala. Very nice. Papa karma, oh, all nonsensical. You hurt people either physically, by speech, mentally, right? So anything wrong that you do to others, to other animals, then it is going to result in anishta phala. It is going to definitely give you some bad phala because that is the law of nature. We cannot avoid law, right? Good action, good result. Bad action, bad result. Jaisi karni, vaisi bharni. They say, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Equal and opposite reaction. So good karma will get you good phala, bad karma will get you bad phala. And there is mishra karma also. Sometimes, in our case, we do good karma also, we do bad karma also. Because there is good karma and bad karma, there is mishra phala. So anybody who does mishra phala, they take birth on this earthly planet. On this earthly planet, what is happening? Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are distressed, unhappy. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gum, right? This is happening to us on this earthly planet. That's why people are sometimes very happy, sometimes they are suffering. But in Devaloka, in Swargaloka, because they have performed only punya karma and they have gone to there, Ishtaphala is what they are only enjoying. And those who have done Papa Karma, they have gone down to the hellish planets and they're constantly suffering the Anishtaphala. Here, there is Mishtaphala on this planet. So we are actually getting the Mishtaphala of good and bad, and that is how we are enjoying and suffering in this world. Right? But now the question is this enjoyment or suffering is for that person who wants phala. Suppose you don't want phala, then there is no question of enjoyment or suffering. Enjoyment and suffering is for that person who wants to get the phala, who is willing to enjoy or suffer that anishta phala. But suppose I renounce that phala itself, I will do my duty, but I don't want the phala. Then what is happening? You have given up. Because you have given up the phala, there is no question of enjoyment or suffering. See, this is a very big secret, I'll tell you. Please understand this and try to absorb how Krishna is telling us to perform action. You perform action without any phala, the desire for phala. See, this is a very hard to do, not so easy because every action somewhere is motivated by the desire to enjoy or suffer something. Mostly enjoyment only. Nobody wants suffering, right? Now you just understand another thing. Suppose I perform an action, okay? I perform an action, and the action is such that that it gives me a result in this lifetime only. Because every action has different reaction time. Just like if I take a ball, okay, I take a ball and there is a wall before me. If I take a ball and throw the ball at the wall, which is about 10 feet away from me, the ball will have a certain reaction time and it will hit the wall and come back to me in a certain time. Okay. That's the action I perform, and the reaction of getting back the ball is about few seconds, say 5 seconds. Now, if the wall is say 20 feet away, then I need to put more pressure. Then the reaction time is also not 5 seconds now. It might be 10 seconds or 12 seconds for the ball to come back, right? So what is happening now? Every action has a different reaction time. Similarly, in our life also, when we perform any action, the reaction time can be different. So I perform an action and the reaction is immediately I get in this lifetime only. So now what is happening? Mind is happy. Ah, I did this action. Wonderful. I got the result also. Because when you get the result, you become very happy. And if the action was wrong, then you get a wrong, I mean, anishtafala, then you become very unhappy also when I get that. Right? So in this life only you get affected by the reaction. Now, suppose if you have performed an action, right, and there is no karma phala and no desire for phala, right, then what is happening? He has escaped the defect of the mind. It doesn't bother him. I did my action, and he's least bothered about what comes. Whether the good action or the bad action, the good fella or bad fella, I'm not bothered. If you are in that kind of a situation, then what is happening? You are completely free. Your mind is fully free. So, this is a very interesting concept. Please understand how we are mostly disturbed in our mind because of our attachment to the fella. This is the greatest thing that you can actually get over to. You have to somehow understand this. My attachment to the phala is giving me happiness or unhappiness. Now, suppose the action that I perform, the phala is not in this lifetime, but I'm supposed to get the phala in the next lifetime. Okay, let us understand. This is another interesting thing. See, I perform an action. The karma phala I'm getting not in this lifetime, but in the next lifetime, I'm supposed to get it. But I perform this action with the intention of, oh, I don't want any phala. I'm not attached to the phala at all. Then what will happen? Will I get rebirth or no rebirth? Karma you performed, I am not attached. And because I'm not attached, will I get a rebirth or no rebirth? Dev, what do you say? What is your understanding now? I have performed
So,
action.
yeah.
Yes.
So, Prabhuji, when you're not attached, so
Yes.
Krishna is saying that if you're renounced to the fruit of the activity, then it doesn't imply on us. So, if it's only about that one karma, then I don't think it should cause the rebirth. But if you see the Sanchit karma that we have from so many lifetimes, then automatically it causes, right?
Yes. Suppose if I have performed actions, series of actions, but I don't have any desire for the result, and all these reactions I'm supposed to get in the next life. Now what will happen? Now will I get the rebirth or no rebirth?
I don't think that should cause. I don't know, but that's my understanding.
Yes. Actually, then there is no need of rebirth because rebirth is coming when? Only when you want to enjoy or suffer. Only when there is attachment to the phala, then the cosmos gives us this body. It makes an arrangement for us. See, when you have a strong desire to enjoy, okay, the cosmos creates an environment for you to enjoy or suffer with the instrument called this body, mind, and intelligence. Suppose now you don't have the desire to enjoy the phala, then the cosmos need not actually create a separate body for you to enjoy. See how much it is. For any fulfillment, there are two things important. There is a desire that is important, that you have to desire for something. And when you have a desire, then you need an instrument, this body. So there is a desire, there is an instrument, right? So when you don't have the desire, the cosmos will say, the nature will say, okay, this fellow doesn't have the desire, then there is no question of rebirth. He doesn't need a BMI, that is body, mind, and intelligence. Getting the point? So cosmos gives us an body, it makes us arrangement only when we desire. Now, since I don't have a desire, then there is no rebirth. So karma phala tyaga is actually equals to karma tyaga. Please understand. Now, immediate effect of karma phala is worry, tension, anxiety, all these things. Immediate phala. But now, long-term effect of karma phala is rebirth. Getting the point? Immediate effect of karma phala is all these tensions and anxieties that we get in life. Long term is what? Rebirth. Now that means what? We are born in this body. It only means that somewhere in the past, in our previous life, we were attached to the karma phala. That's why I'm getting this body today. So only a person who does karma phala tyaga, he is called a sannyasi. He is a sannyasi. Getting the point? Very interesting. This is. So please understand. So our problems in life is not because of action, it is because of our desire to get the phala. Our attachment to the phala is bringing us problems in life. Right? Okay. Achyutanji, unmute yourself. Let's go to the next verse. Let us understand the next verse. Verse number 13. Okay, one second. Okay, let us go to the next verse, 13th verse. Paschaitani mahabaho
चैतानि महाबाहो
कारणानि निबोध मे
कारणानि निबोध मे
सांख्ये कृतानि प्रोक्तानि
साङ्ख्ये कृतानि प्रोक्तानि
सिद्धये कर्म कर्मणम्.
सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणम्.
Okay, wonderful. Please read the translation.
O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are five causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So this is a very straightforward thing that Krishna is saying here. What Krishna is saying is, "O mighty Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are five causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn these from me. Now let us understand this very important. Okay, Divik, you can unmute yourself. Let's go to the next verse also. Let us stand the next verse. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Very important. Adhishthanam tata karta
Adhishtanam tata karta
karanam cha pratagvidham
karanam cha putakvidam
vividhascha pratacheshta
vividascha putakchesta
daivam chaivatra paschamam.
daivam chevatra paschamam.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are the five factors of action. Hare Krishna.
Hmm. Thank you so much. Very interesting. So, see how beautiful Krishna is explaining very logically that for any activity, any action, there are five things involved. And this is what the place of action. The place of action is this body. Adhishthanam, the base. Then there is a doer, there is a performer that we are supposed to actually understand that also. Performer is also very important. Okay. And there is a person who has the senses, the mind, and ultimately there is a super soul. Let us understand these five factors very nicely and in detail so that it is clear for each one of us that how we are supposed to actually perform action. See, what is the lowest tyaga? Tamasic tyaga, right? Tamasic tyaga, and then there is above that there is tamasic tyaga is the rajasic tyaga. Why rajasic tyaga? Like I told you earlier also, tamasic tyaga involves hurting someone else. Rajasic tyaga, you don't necessarily hurt anyone, but you are ignorant. You don't do it, right? In tamasic tyaga, you are harming someone. In rajasic tyaga, you're not harming anyone. So there is the lowest tyaga, giving up, that is tamasic. Then there is rajasic, right? Now, after tamasic and rajasic, immediately think what you will say is, oh, then there is above rajasic is sattvic. No, above sattvic, there is another thing that is supposed to be known as atyaga. Atyaga means, it is mentioned in this verse number 12, he is performing action, but no results. He's he's performing actions for results. That is verse number 12. I want to do something because I want to get out of some result because of that action that I have performed. So definitely he's better because he's doing his duty. Rajasic fellow, he knows what to do, but he will not do out of Rajoguna. But here Atyaga means he will perform duty because he is motivated by some result. So he wants to get some result. That is called Atyaga. Now Atyaga is one level above Rajasic Tyaga, but then there is above that there is one more thing, and that is Sattvic Tyaga. So this is very important. Then there is Atyaga, then there is Sattvic Tyaga. So he performs action and no attachment to the phala. That is Sattvic fellow, right? He is called a sannyasi. He is a karma sannyasi. Now, what is this? We'll understand. See, for understanding action and fruits, we first have to understand what is action. What is involved in performing action is very important. So, what is Krishna saying? Panchaitani Mahabaho. What is the source? Sankhya Kritani Proktani. Vedanta is the source of this knowledge. So, what are the five factors and what is the source? Five factors we'll understand. The source of these five factors is Sankhya. Sankhya means Vedanta. Okay. We have understood the 24 elements in the previous sessions also. What are the 24 elements? Right? The 24 elements are the five working senses, the five knowledge acquiring senses, all these different things that we have understood previously also in detail. Okay. Now, all these 24 elements are deeply explained in 13th chapter. Vedanta is also called Sankhya. Sankhya means counting. There are a lot of detailed, logical, analytical things that we understand about this body that we have understood, right? Vedanta is also called Kritante. That means Kritante means what? Puts an end to the karma phala. Kritante. Krita means action. Ante means that which puts an end to the karma phala is called Kritante. Okay? So that's why it's called Kritante. Now, Arjuna, for performing any action, these five factors are important. What is that adhishthanam? The base, the foundation, the body. Okay? Then there is karta. Karta means doer, the entity who feels, right? So, feels what? I am doing. So, whenever you perform any action, you have the sense of, yes, I did this, I did that, I'm going to go, I have to do this. So, that feeling of I-ness is coming. Why? Because you are a karta, you are the doer. So there should be adhishtanam, the base, that is this body. When the body is there, then you are the doer who is there, who is desiring, right? Then there is karanam, instrument. This body, instrument basically means the mind, the subtle mind, right? Because without the mind, the senses will not work. When adhisthana means body, I've understood body also includes the senses, the physical senses, but karana means the mind. Now, chesta. Chesta means what? Action. you make an endeavor to perform some action. So another meaning which Shankaracharya also explains about action is interaction of the five airs within our body. The five airs are there: prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. So these five airs, the interaction between these five airs, the movement of these five airs within the body makes us perform action. Without the movement of these airs, I cannot blink my eyes. The blinking of eyes happens because of the movement of the airs. The food gets pushed downwards because of the movement of a certain air, right? So similarly, your breathing, your speaking, all this is happening because of there are five airs. These five airs are moving within the body, and because of that air, there is a chesta, there is an action. Okay. Then there is daiva. The fifth is daiva. Daiva, now sometimes people call it as luck. Many people feel that it is luck. Oh, it's only my luck that I got something. Or it can be grace of the Lord, of the Guru, of the mercy. Then Deva also can mean Devatas, because Devatas also sometimes they benefit us in so many ways. So Devatas, the Deva can also mean Devatas. Then the external environment, whatever it is. So Daiva means, of course, it is the mercy of the Lord. Ultimately, many things in different contexts, different things can be understood for this Daiva. So, Adhishthanam, Annamaya Kosha, body, right? Annamaya Kosha. Karta, Vijnanamaya Kosha. Karanam, instrument, the mind, Manomaya Kosha. Chesta, action, which is the movement of the five airs within the body, Pranamaya Kosha. And Daiva, which is beyond. So all these different koshas we have understood previously in one of the session. We will try to again understand sometime in detail about this pancha koshas. So now what is happening is everything is related to the matter. For any action that you perform, these five things are important: Adhishtanam, Karta, Karanam, Chesta, Daiva. These five things are important for any action, and these five things are related to matter, not spirit. Action is happening where? At the bodily level, right? At the bodily level, you are performing action. You're clicking the mouse, you're touching the mobile phone. All this is happening at what? Bodily level. Shariravan manobhir yat karma prabhate narah nyayam va vipritam va panchayitam tasya hetavaha. That is the next verse. We will chant that also. Okay, I'll ask Divik only to unmute. Divik, unmute yourself. Let us chant the next verse also.
Yes,
We
Prabhu.
have chanted, see 15th verse. Shariravan manobhiryat
Shariravan manobhiryet
karma prarabhate naraha
karma prarabhate naraha
nyayam va viparitam va
nyayam va viparitam va
pashyate tasya hetavaha.
paschayate tasya hetavah.
Wonderful. Oh, this is a very small, I don't know if you're able to read this. Can you
Whatever
read
right
this?
or wrong, yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these five factors. Hare
Thank you very much.
Krishna.
Yes. Okay, so basically, Krishna is trying to say one thing here, very important, and that is for any action that you perform, these five factors are important. All are connected to the matter. Now, anything made up of five elements is matter. Matter means five elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Now, the problem is when the soul, which is spiritual, it is not matter, it is anti-matter, right? When this soul identifies with matter, then that infinite capacity, ability of the soul is limited by this body. See what is happening? We are really amazing. As a soul, we have unlimited, so much of potency, so much of happiness. Satchidananda Swarupa is it is. But then when it gets captured, basically captured means when it identifies with this matter, all that potential of the soul is limited. See, this is the main problem. Identification is a problem. Now, all these problems in our life is because we are identifying. Now, please understand. Soul and matter, they do not mix with each other. Okay, they do not mix with each other. But the soul is identifying with the matter because of the false ego. And because of that identification with matter, now what is happening? The matter is working. Now, directly, the soul is not the karta. Please understand. The soul is called karta, the doer, only in the sense it only desires. The soul has thinking, feeling, willing. So the soul only desires, and that desire, because now the soul is identifying with the body, now the soul desires to do certain action. That desire is what is a fuel for action. I hope you're getting this point. It's a little philosophical thing, but I'm just trying to make you clear that directly the soul does not interact or make this body work. The body doesn't work like that. Soul does not directly control because they do not mix. Soul and matter cannot mix. They do not interfere like that. But the soul now identifies with the body, with the matter, but that interface between the soul and the body is the desire of the soul. Desire is a force. This force of desire is what pushes this adhishtanam, this body, this mind, right? And because of this desire, you are now becoming a doer. Although the soul is not the doer, but because of that identification with the body, the soul is also called as doer. Prabhupada says in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining that how in the Shruti is what? It explains Esha hi drishta shashtaha. Prashna Upanishad, it is said. It is also confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra by the verses Gnota eva. That means the soul is the doer. And also another thing, Karta Shastrarthavatvat. Shastrarthavatvat. That means the soul is actually a karta in the sense it does not directly interact with the matter, but it actually desires. It is not a doer, but is the desirer. So ahankar vimudatma kartaham iti manyate, right? Ahankara vimudatma, this vimudatma is because of ahankara thinking that I am the doer. He is not the doer actually. The doer is only the body and the desire that you have pushed it. Right? So the self-realized soul is not doing material action. Now what is happening is, please understand, when a person becomes self-realized, he disidentifies with the body. So what is happening is, when he disidentifies with the body, he is totally detached from the karma phala and all of these things. Right? See, if you are attached, if you are an attached soul, then you are a tyagi. If you are not attached soul, then you are a sannyasi. If you see reflection, okay, the reflection in the mirror. Now the reflection, the nature of the mirror is what? The nature of the mirror is to reflect. Now the mirror itself is not doing anything. Although in the mirror you will see a lot of reflection action is being performed, the mirror is not the cause of it, right? The mirror is not performing any of that. Mirror is only reflecting. It is its nature. Correct? That is how it is. So a sannyasi is what? He is there. He is there. His presence is there, but he is not actually performing any action. Just like the mirror. Now fire. When fire is there, you are cooking. Now fire is simply there. Its nature is what? And in its environment, the food is getting cooked, but the fire itself is not cooking. Okay, I'll put some masala, I'll put this thing, I'll put that. No, the fire is not doing. Just in the presence of the fire, the food is getting cooked. The nature of fire is like that. It is there, but actually it is not doing the direct action. So similarly, a sannyasi, he is there, he does everything. In his presence, everything is happening, but he is actually not doing. I hope you are getting this point. Fire is not doing anything. In the presence of fire, the cooking is happening. Electricity is not doing all this rotation of the fan and all the in the presence of electricity, the heating, the cooling, and all that is happening. In the presence, directly electricity is not doing. There are instruments which are actually doing the cooling and heating thing, right? So when you are in that nature, in that state of self-realization, this is called karma sannyasa, giving up action completely. In the sense, you are giving karma phala. By giving karma phala, you are becoming free from action. So this identification with the body is the key to becoming free from karma phala. Please understand. The more you become free from identification from this body, you will become free from karma phala and you will become free from rebirth. This is the science. Vinodji, unmute yourself. Let's go to the next verse. 16th verse. Let me add Vinodji if he is there. Yeah, he's already there. Yeah. Okay, let's chant the next verse. Tatraivam sati kartaram
तत्रेरं सति कर्तारम्
atmanam kevalam tu yaha
आत्मानं केवलं तु यः
pashyat pashyatakrata buddhitvan
पश्यतत्र बुद्धित्वान्
nasa pashyati durmatihi.
न श पश्यति दुर्मतिः.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the five factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. Hare Krishna.
Yes, that's a very straightforward thing. So, a person who is only thinking that, oh, I am the doer, I did everything, I did that, he's not even looking at these five factors. There is a body, there is a mind, there are so many different factors. You are not the only doer, right? The best example is, when a person goes to a farmer, a farmer, what can he do actually? What is in his capacity? He will go and sow the seeds, right? After sowing the seeds, do you think that immediately the next day he will start getting all the crops? No, definitely not. He will not get any crops immediately. He has to wait. That is time. So today he will sow. After sowing, his action is done. That's it. He has to wait. What is that? That waiting time? Time involved. The time is what? It's very important. Time factor is involvement for giving the reaction. Phala. Not just that. You have sown the seeds and everything. You are waiting for the right time for the crops to grow. But at the same time, Daiva, rain also has to come. Rain is not in our hands. The farmer has no control over the rain. Just see, look at this. So many times when we become successful in doing something, we should first understand that it is not just me. There are definitely other factors. There might be different variables for my success. It can be another person, it can be a particular situation, it can be a bigger thing that I don't know. Right? So now, for example, many people, when now today, if you look at the Kumbh Mela, right? Kumbh Mela was a success. I just yesterday, Yogi Adityanath ji was the CM of UP. He was saying that there was a person, a boatman, who had about 100 or 120 boats, and in just last 45 days, he has earned 20 crores. Now, you see, he had 120 boats previously also. Correct? But now if you think, oh, just because I had 120 boats, I became successful. No, so many other factors were there. The Kumbh Mela itself is a big factor, right? The arrangement of the government is another factor. The promotion of the government for Kumbh Mela is another factor. So many people coming into that place is so many different variables and factors are there for his success. So we should always think that whenever there is any action that we perform, any acts, any successful event that happens, it is not only me. There are different variables, there are different people involved, there are different situations involved. Our environment is also a cause of it. That's why adhishtanam, there is karta, there is chesta, then there is daiva. Finally, the sanction of the Lord should be there for any successful event, right? So this is very important. So a person who is foolish, durmatihi, he thinks that, oh, I did everything. That is wrong. Now, if you tell the fire, oh, you are cooking so much, it is so nice, the fire will say, Arey, I am not doing anything. I am simply there. But in my presence, that cooking is happening. You're putting the masala, vegetables, and this and that, all that is happening. The fire in turn is not actually cooking. The presence of the fire is actually helping it to cook. So similarly, a person knows that, okay, I will perform action, but there are other variables. They say that in the center of the whirlwind, there is peace. A sannyasi is like that. When there is a, whirlwind, when there's a whirlwind, it is very powerful, and it will pluck out anything, big, big trees and big, big buildings and everything. It will disturb, uproot everything. But in that whirlwind, at the center of that whirlwind, there's a lot of peace, it seems. That's what the scientists say. Center of the whirlwind is very peaceful. So similarly, a sannyasi is like that. There's a lot of action happening around the world, but within, he's very peaceful. All the disturbance is only outside. He is inside the whirlwind, very sitting silently. I am not the doer. He's like that. Okay. So Dev, unmute yourself. Let's chant the next verse. 17th verse today. Okay. Yasyanaham baho. Wait, let me display
Prabhu,
it.
yeah. Yasya na hankatro bhavo. Sorry.
Once again. Yasyanaham baho.
Yasya na hankarto bhavo.
Buddhir yasya na lipyate.
Buddhir yasya na lipyate.
Hatvapi sa imah lokan.
Hatvapi sa ima lokan.
Antina nibhadyate.
Nahanti na nibhatyate.
Please read the translation.
Yes. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. Hare Krishna.
This is a straight answer to Arjuna now. So, what a powerful thing it is. He's saying that one who is motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, not motivated by false ego, and not entangled, although he may kill the people in this world, he does not kill. So, Arjuna, you were falsely thinking that you are this body and you are doing all this action of killing. Don't worry. You are not attached now. You don't be attached. Be a sannyasi and perform an action of killing. Directly, Krishna is telling. You can kill these people and still you will be free. You will be renouncer. See, even the ghastly action of killing cannot be considered as bounding action. It cannot bind you if you are a sannyasi. See, such a powerful thing it is. Huh? So these are not ordinary statements. So if killing cannot bind you, then what to speak about this normal actions that we perform on a day-to-day basis? Definitely, if we practice and we can apply this knowledge, then you can actually be a great sannyasi. Be sitting at home, you can be a sannyasi. Please understand, sannyasi doesn't mean only the orange robes you wear, then you will become a sannyasi. No, this is real sannyasa. When you don't identify with your body, mind, and intelligence, you are actually a sannyasi. And when such a person who is completely has no identification with the body, when he kills, there is no reaction for him at all because he's not attached, not at all attached to the body. He knows this cloth is different from me. He knows very well that this cloth is temporary. He knows that this body is temporary, not attached, totally not attached. So, what to speak of? This is a very high philosophy. In a normal condition, when you go to Indian Army now, or any army for that matter, if you go to the Indian Army, see, there is a commander in chief in the defense system, and he will tell the soldiers, go and kill the terrorist. Under the command of the superior officer, when the soldier goes and kills a person, do you think that the soldier will be put into jail because of killing the terrorist? No, he will be awarded, rewarded, everything, right? He'll get medals for killing. Why? He killed because it was ordered by a superior thing, superior person. Similarly, when you are totally disidentified with the body, you are completely in spiritual consciousness, and when you kill, there's no reaction to it, right? But if a soldier kills on his own, goes and kills on his own, then stabs, and then he will be put into jail. But when he is killing on the order of a superior, he is rewarded. Just see, karma is happening, but on what level it is happening, on what basis it is happening, that matters, right? So when you are detached from the body, then you will become a karma sannyasi. This is very important. So sannyasa simply doesn't mean that okay, I'll wear some dress and I'll become a sannyasi. No. Real sannyasa is when we give up the identification with the body and no desire for karma phala. Any questions? So Lakshmi Mataji on YouTube saying, Prabhu, only after getting the knowledge, we renounce the phala. But before that, the seeds of desires were there. Okay, so only after getting the knowledge, we renounce the phala. But before that, the seeds of desires were there. Desire, the seeds of desire were not there, but the seeds of the karma phala are there. So what happens is, whenever we perform any action, the action will go and sit in the form of a bhija. So bhija, kutam, phalam. So it's in the form of bija, then it develops kutam, and then finally it gives a phala. So like I told you, there are many desire, many reactions, seeds of the past karma which is sitting in our heart right now, and those are actually fructifying now. Whatever happiness or uh, unhappiness that we are actually experiencing in lifetime, it's only because those seeds of our karma phala is fructifying and giving us the result right now. That's a prarabdha karma. So all the seeds which are about to fructify is what comes as prarabdha, right? I mean, in this lifetime, they are about to ripen and they're about to fructify and become ripe. So those reactions, those seeds are now coming in our life. That's called prarabdha. Seeds which are allotted, oh, they are about to ripe. That is what is allotted as prarabdha karma to us. Sanchit karma is all the reactions which are sitting in the form of seeds. So still there in our heart. They are still not fructified. That may come in this lifetime and sometime in the next lifetime also. Those seeds are there. Those seeds will come later. But if we surrender to Guru, Prabhupada, then Prabhupada will ensure that all the Sanchit karma, the seeds, will be burnt off. Even before it is fructified, it will be burnt off. Any seed you take, you take the wheat or the rice or anything, you take the seeds and you burn it off. Do you think they'll fructify? No, it will be burnt off with the power of devotion. With the power of devotion and the power of the mercy of Krishna and Prabhupada, the seeds, the Sanchit karma, the seeds will be burnt off. So what remains is only the prarabdha karma. The prarabdha means those karma which is allotted for you to in this lifetime. So that will give you happiness and joy accordingly. And also aghami karma. Aghami karma is that action which you are performing in this lifetime. That also will either form a seed and go and sit in the consciousness, or you may get that result in this lifetime itself. Depends on what type of action it is. Better is more and more devotion we do, so that more and more our heart will become clear. When Prabhupada used to say this example, if you go to India Gate or Chowpatty or anywhere, lot of pigeons will be there, and you go and clap, all the pigeons will just fly away, right? When you go and make noise, the pigeons will fly away. So similarly, when we come together and we do kirtan, sankirtan, and when we clap in the sankirtan, all these seeds which are there, they'll just fly away from our heart. Right? So we have to do Sankirtan, clap our hands, and see that all these unwanted pigeons which are there will fly away from our heart, our consciousness. So this is the power of devotion. Okay. Any other question? Yeah, so there are these very philosophical things, but if you just contemplate on what we have discussed today, please understand the takeaway of today's this thing session will be for you. There is karma phala, and there is reaction to it, right? Rebirth. So now, if you are intelligent, you will slowly understand that okay, I don't have to do any action for karma phala. I will do action as a matter of duty, and phala, I'm not attached. If in this mode, if you start operating, you will see a lot of difference in your consciousness. Do your action without any karma phala, whether pleasant or unpleasant. Just do it as a matter of duty. This itself will make you happy, and that's what we are actually looking for. We are all looking for happiness. Okay. So, with this, we will end our session today and we will continue from the 18th verse in the next session. And that next session, I know I've been telling this that we will have two sessions. Maybe this Thursday evening or Wednesday evening, we will try to have another session and then on Sunday also. Okay. So, I will let you know about that. Please take care. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Devik. Hare